Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and I'm on my way to go and speak to a whole group of young people about leadership. Every year I am most honored to keep getting invited back to this particular event where I am both the opening and closing speaker. I've been doing it for, I think it's my 27th year now, maybe 28th, I don't know. So you can imagine that that's quite an honor that they keep inviting me back, and there's part of me that goes, they must keep inviting me back because I keep getting rave reviews. Think about that one. Because there's nothing quite like talking to young people. As you can probably imagine, the young people, for some strange reason, relate to me really well. And you know, when I first get up there, they sort of look at me like, you know, what on earth is this fat old fart gonna teach me? And yet, that's not how they feel when I finished. So it's a great honor to me to keep getting invited back, and I am really very, very grateful indeed. So I know you always ask me, you know, what do you talk about? And I talk about the same subject every year when I do the opening because it's important. I sort of set up everything that's going to happen for the rest of the time there on this weekend. And I have a discussion about judgments and assumptions. And it's pretty easy for me to do because obviously the first thing that everybody does is to judge me for being grey and fat. And they won't necessarily say that they did, but we know that they will, because that's human nature. And then, of course, I go into a lot of stuff, but what I'm telling them as well is be careful, because if you start with that judgment, then you will make assumptions that's how I think, that I'm an old fart, a fat old fart. And I think like a fat old fart. Well, I don't. Which they find out in a hurry. And I remind them not only what I've done, but what I'm doing. And funny enough, it's always interesting what impresses them. That's always been of interest to me. They really do get very impressed that I'm on YouTube. You know, apparently that gets me serious brownie points that I've prepared to be on YouTube, and that I've been on it for a while, that I'm not, you know, just getting in now, that I've been on it for a while. I'm pretty sure that they will like the fact that I'm close to 1 million views. That will probably impress them this year. Oh, I meant to check how many views I had this time last year. Well, we know it was under 500,000, that's for sure, because we did that in August. So I would imagine it was probably about, not really important. Well, that's the one thing. And the other thing that impresses them always is, for the guys, that I've driven single-seater racing cars and done the Roof of Africa and the Trans-Kalahari road race. That puts me in a whole different mindset for them. You know, it's like, really? You go, yeah. You ever done that? No. And then I will talk to them about the fact that even though I've done all these incredible things in my life, you know, including being an international motivational speaker and all those sort of things, that I still struggle every day with the same stuff, that I still get judged every day. I still have people making assumptions about me every day that aren't true. And that I still have, I'll talk to them about haters and the fact I've had death threat. You know, because what I want them to understand is just because you've done these things doesn't mean that you don't get the rest that comes with it. And I always say to people who want to get onto YouTube or into social media in any way, You know, if you can't take the haters, if you can't get yourself in the right space for the haters, don't go there. Because I think the haters on social media are far worse than the haters in real life. Because they can hide. Well, they think they can. And so it's very important that they understand that this, what I do, is because I love to do, not because it's easy to do. And so when I talk to them about their judgments and assumptions, one of the things I will talk about in terms of my weight, for example, was, you know, I was 50 pounds lighter. Scary. When I gave up smoking. But I'll word it, I'll lead up to that. That, you know, that was the price I paid. Gave up the cigarettes, but compensated with food. And I will talk to them about those realities. But you know, because I gave up cigarettes, their judgment of me will be different. Or the fact that just because I'm 70 doesn't mean I'm stupid. Well, that of course is based on everybody's personal viewpoint. So really, that is what I talk about to them in a very fast 1 hour. But within that hour, I will pick on all sorts of people in that room. And in the split second that I pick on them, and I do, some of them in that split second will not like me very much. Because I will pick on them for things like not standing straight when they stand to ask a question. And say, if you want to be a leader, you know, stand like one. Don't slouch, don't lean on one hip or the other, you know, stand up. And I will talk to others about, you know, if you want to be a leader, be heard. So don't sit there mumbling at me. I'm 70 and half deaf. Show some compassion here and talk to me so I can hear you. And it's amazing because they'll look at you and they'll really sort of not like that. But you know, those are the very people who will probably be back next year in another program that we run. And what they will say is, I'll always remember when Sal da-da-da-da-da-da. And what they remember is it made a difference in their lives. And they started to stand better and talk better. And when they presented their views or the views of their group, they didn't talk about I, they talked about we. And so I will do all of these things, but I laugh a lot. And I'll make sure that they know inside out and back to front that I am not a perfect person. I'm just Sal, who happens to have done a lot of things, had a lot of dreams, and accomplished most of them. But I'm not over yet. Touch wood. And if I'm really lucky, by the time I finish my hour, they will see me in a whole different way. And they will make their judgment at the end as to how good a speaker I am. And the strange thing is that I will go back and speak again at the end, but they won't get a chance to actually rate that speech because all the evaluations will be in by the time I do them. And that's okay with me. Because at the end I will do a totally different speech And remind them that they're in a position, starting right now, to make a difference in the world, in whatever way they choose. And I will remind them that they will do it, and people will judge them and make assumptions of them. And some people will stab them in the back and they won't understand why. And I will remind them that's probably because they're jealous. And then some people will do this and some people will do that. And you know, if you have a passion for what you do, you just keep doing it. And it won't be easy, because it isn't. And you probably won't get the rewards you hoped for, and that's okay. But if you have passion and commitment and a dream, you'll keep going until you get there. And you will pay the price, like everybody else has before you. So think about that. Wherever you are in your life, doesn't matter how old or young you are, what was it in what I just said that rang true for you? What was it that you said, yeah, I need to remember that, or I need to do that, or I've forgotten about that? This is DearMamaSal saying, thanks for listening. Bye-bye for now.